Welcome to class, all you pickleball champs. You're in 452 Advanced Doubles Game Film Analysis. Today we are going to be analyzing the PPA semifinal match between Ignatowich and McGuffin versus Garnett and Alshon. If this is your first time here, this course is designed for advanced players who want to get a better understanding of the game of pickleball and understand it at a much deeper level. If you are looking to improve your game, start playing tournaments, thinking of becoming a coach yourself, or simply want to stop losing and not understand why, this course is for you. This course is in-depth. It is game film analysis where we slow things down, pick professional play apart, and understand the mistakes which are holding people back from winning. Therefore, if this is what you have been looking for to take your enjoyment of pickleball to the next level, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of our future course videos. I'm your professor. Class is in session. Okay, let's back this on up. One quick thing as I back this up, I want you guys to know that in case you don't know these players, we're actually doing something a little bit special today. I'm going to bring everybody kind of into their standard spots. On the screen right now, that is Christian Alshon serving. His partner is Garnett, and he is in a white shirt, black hat. Tyson McGuffin is receiving the ball right now. He is normally going to be playing the left side as you see him switching there. He is in a, you call it a tank top or sleeveless white shirt, white hat. And then Ignatowich, the taller of the two, is in a gray hat, white shirt, and he just ran to the right side. Okay, let's back this all the way up to the first point. The one thing that we're doing here today is we are actually analyzing a highlight reel. It's not actually the full match, unfortunately. It's rather difficult for me to find footage of Christian Alshon, where actually the reason we're looking at this is specifically to be analyzing his game playing doubles and seeing when somebody is a banger, how it works and how it doesn't work. So this is going to be the first point we are going to be analyzing. Christian Alshon served. If this is your first time here, we always watch the full point out and then back it up and analyze it, figure out where it broke down, where the mistakes were. This is a really good point. Okay, there's the out ball. Let's back this on up. I'm going to be actually analyzing this point from a little bit further back to kind of indicate how we got up to the kitchen. So there's the serve. Tyson McGuffin on the switch. Hits a decently deep ball back to Christian Alshon. Primarily did that so that if Alshon drove it, that McGuffin would have a ball coming straight at him so he could see it. Then there's a very high fifth shot drop, and McGuffin decides to go for the Ernie. And very good here by Ignatowich. He sees that and scoots over to the middle line to be right where that ball is coming. So I'm really liking the play by McGuffin and Ignatowich there. Good slide over for your teammate. And then basically with that, soft hands by Garnett, and he gets it dropped in, and everybody's up the kitchen line right now. We're basically starting off neutral, and we start dinking here. Okay, let's start speeding this forward a little bit more. Good defensive dink for Ignatowich. Christian Alshon hit a great shot there, kind of pushing him back. Very good job by Garnett letting that ball bounce, taking it and not speeding it up. Obviously, McGuffin loves, if he sees something and he thinks he can push, he wants to push. So he does right there. But then Ignatowich basically does a pop-up, puts them on the defense, and the point basically restarts here. Everybody gets back to the kitchen line, and we get back into dinking. I think if that hadn't just popped over. Okay, so one thing right here. We're going to keep track of this, even though we're not going to be able to analyze the entire game because we only have the highlights. That is a bounce speed up, and it's a backhand bounce speed up. Most of the time those don't work. But right here, going directly in front of him, Garnett gets Ignatowich to take it, even though this ball looks like it was going to sail long for sure. And Ignatowich swings and it just goes long. So for Alshon and his partner Garnett, they actually get one. So we're just going to keep a little track here. So they are 1 for 1 on bounce speed ups, but we'll see how that continues on. Okay, that was the first point. Let's move on to the next one. Obviously, with this being a highlight reel, there's not going to be a lot of space in between serves because it's already been cut down. As you can see, the score is jumping. You know, it just went from 0-3, now it's 3-3. That point, let's back that on up. And let's take a look at this. Okay, so McGuffin serving here. His classic serve, nice deep to the corner for the forehand. Alshon and Garnett are switching again. Garnett is playing the right-hand side. Gets there, strong backhand down at McGuffin. McGuffin again, and then attacks straight on. Okay, let's take a little bit closer. So McGuffin decides to drive this to push on Garnett because he's not there. Fent just looks like he gets it up too high because Garnett's really able to take a swing at it. Really doesn't have great form, but a very hard ball to McGuffin's backhand, and then McGuffin pops it up, and then McGuffin's trying to slow it down and just can't. Okay, so I want to look right here. Because McGuffin drove the ball, he's just charging in. And so when that ball comes across, he's just diving for it. And that's the big issue that you have when you are driving a third shot drive, is you don't know if it's going to come back short, you don't know if it's going to come back long, and you can really get on a quick defensive on this. And so I think it wasn't a very good drive, and McGuffin does about as best he can do. The one thing I love here is in a very short period of time, McGuffin gets back and gets his feet reset. He does it almost better than anybody, and he does it actually much better than his partner Ignatowich. As you can see here, this ball has time. He hits the ball right there. Ignatowich's feet are in the air. He brings that from tennis, and so because of that, he's late a lot of the time of being ready. As you can see, watch this right here. McGuffin gets this ball very off balance, comes up, has way less time. Watch him jump his feet back. And he's got his feet down there. Now, less time, but that's why he's able to get this ball back over, and Ignatowich isn't, is because of the actual footwork. When this ball is being impacted, Ignatowich is completely in the air. He gets on the ground here. You can say his toes touch, but his weight gets to his toes here. It's already past the line, and then he reacts, and he reacts late. So that's the big takeaway from this point, is that if you're going to drive, you still got to get your feet set and then make one single move. If you're late on those moves, you're not going to be able to put the ball where you want. Okay, let's move on to the next point. Okay, Ignatowich serving here. We'll watch it at full speed. Don't mind the score jumping around. It's now 5-4. As I said, this is a rather unusual video we're doing. It's because of me being able to find good doubles footage of Christian Alshon is difficult, and therefore, with that, we are actually watching a highlight reel and just analyzing those points. Okay, let's go through here. Christian Alshon, nice deep serve by Ignatowich to Alshon. Good step over to take the forehand by Garnett. Good drop right there. This is one thing you'll see a lot from Ignatowich. He wants to hit a drive and then do a fifth shot drop. And now we're into a dink game with McGuffin. Okay, let's see where this kind of breaks down. So, nice middle dink. I like that by Garnett. Probably could take it a little bit further to the right. And Alshon doesn't let that ball bounce. Takes it below the net and puts it too high. It's still below the net. So this is, let's draw this out for you guys. Here's his knee. And there is Ignatowich's shoulder. So for those of this your first time watching, this is a red light ball. And everything in here is a yellow light ball, which means proceed with caution. You're taking a risk if you're going to speed that up, right? Because you may not be able to get it back down into the court. And even if you do, you're not going to be able to hit it as hard. So Ignatowich getting it to his forehand saying, hey, I'm gonna at least test this because I'm forehand to backhand right here. I'm gonna risk that. And as you see, he hits that ball up high. So the ball he hit, kind of waist height and outreaching, and that ball is almost to the shoulder of Garnett. So Garnett he's swinging down, but Ignatowich is saying, hey, I'd rather have it be on my forehand. Hits a little bit of a block volley changeup to get it back down, which Garnett speeds up into him, and then it's over. So the big issue where things start to break down is this Alshon dink. It's just too high and doesn't have enough spin going to Ignatowich's forehand, where he probably should have. I'm just going to leave this ball here. As you can see, it kind of gets to there. Let's draw this out. Alshon should have attacked in this zone and tried to have the ball bounce in this area going to the left foot or into the body of Ignatowich, which would have made it much more difficult for him to A, hit it with the forehand, and B, it would have been going to his backhand. Even if he hit it that high, he probably wouldn't have been as much trouble. The number one thing is that this ball is that high over the net. That's extremely high dink in men's doubles, and that is one of the issues, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to take a look at this footage, because you see Alshon normally when you see him in highlights and getting to semifinals, final matches, he's in and playing in singles. And so that is the one thing I wanted to take a look and see how his doubles game is proceeding. And I think with his ability to hit coming from tennis, hits amazing backhands and forehands, extremely quick. We wanted to see how that is either working for him or not working for him. And this dink not working for him on taking that ball out of the air and trying to have touch with it. So I think we've analyzed that one pretty well. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, Alshon serving here. They called that in. Garnett doing a fantastic job of pushing McGuffin on those drops and having McGuffin run around to his forehand. Ooh, tough to see if it hit the line. From that reaction, McGuffin, it definitely seems like McGuffin says it was in, and looks like it was called in. Okay, let's back this up. I actually really like this point to be able to analyze it. Okay. Nice serve, kind of a mid-serve, nothing real hard. So McGuffin is full throttle, going to get up to the net before that ball is coming back over. And McGuffin hits a very risky volley, but gets lucky on that one. Okay, here's one big thing I just want to show off. One of the big issues of where Alshon is, he's all the way up here at the kitchen line. His partner's literally off the court all the way back here. And just a reminder for everybody, you only want to be one zone away from your partner. So I'm going to draw out these zones. The baseline is the first zone. Okay? Zone 2 is right here in the middle. I'll do it on yellow on the other side to make it easy. So just right down the center, that is 2. So let's put a 2 over here. And then the kitchen line right here, that's 3. Okay? So what Alshon should have done when he has a partner who is all the way back is he shouldn't be continually moving forward. He should actually see that his partner has gone to get this ball, and he should go back. See how he kind of goes back there with his foot, going, okay, I'm going to help out. He sees this drop, and he goes, nope, now I'm proceeding forward. There's if the ball had gone to the other side, one, there's a truck size lane right in between them. So if anything goes to Ignatowich, this point's over. So that really isolates what and where Garnett is allowed to hit, and that is being caused by Alshon's play. So now it happens again. Alshon sees his partner still way back there, and he backs up a little bit, and unfortunately he comes forward again, goes over to Garnett. Garnett is in this situation because he has to join his partner. He overruns this ball. If you see the ball is crossing the plane of the net here, he should have stopped, but he goes, man, I got to get up there. And so he just keeps running, split steps late, post-impact. Look at this. Way past impact, he split steps and just luckily gets a paddle on it and hits a great shot. Trust me, he's a fantastic player, but he had to do a lot more and get lucky to get them both up to the kitchen line. And so the point basically here, it's all neutral. McGuffin comes back in from running around from his forehand, and everybody's at the kitchen line. And so Alshon and Garnett worked hard to get up there, and then we're getting into a dink battle. So nice couple dinks. Backhand, pushing him over. Garnett, that ball did not hit that wide. You see right where it hit right there. Still a good 2 feet, and he lets that drop all the way down to take it around. Not an easy shot for Ignatowich to get. So fantastic job there. Just pops it back up. Yeah, and it just looks like that ball went in. So I think it was pretty quick for Alshon to pick this up, but that's just too soft of a hit coming from him. But I really believe that he thought that ball was going to go out, given the fact that McGuffin was impacting the ball so low. And so this is one of those classic ones where you kind of tell your opponent to prove it, that they can actually hit that shot, and McGuffin did just that. So obviously the final mistake really is letting an in ball go out. But I'm more impressed that Alshon had the feel and ability to get out of the way after that shot. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Once again, don't worry about the score. We are doing something we rarely do, and we're just analyzing highlights of this match. I was not able to find the entire match easily. Maybe in a future date, I will find the whole thing and we will reanalyze it. So we're actually going to be analyzing multiple games, not just the first full game. Okay, let's back this point all the way up. Here we go. Ignatowich is serving. And then we're going to break down and see what happens here. This volley, I know it's to his backhand, but that's just too soft. That's McGuffin and Ignatowich basically get to just tee off on Alshon if he's going to hit volleys back that soft. And in my opinion, it's something he needs to work on. His wrist right here is not strong enough from the angle of the wrist. I know it's kind of tough to probably see on your screen, but he needs to get a stronger position on the wrist to have that ball come back harder. And that's what gives Ignatowich a very easy drop to then get him and McGuffin up there. Okay, once again, little net ball, point basically resets. McGuffin just backhands it over. That's a very big run off the court just to get this. I think he was thinking about ATPing it again and then changed his mind. And so I actually like what I see here, which most people don't do. So watch, I'm going to put this red mark, I'm going to leave it there. Watch Christian Alshon's left foot as we move this forward. So he comes over, but then holds, but he actually came over a bit. I actually think he could have taken a full another step over, but I understand it. He's trying to defend a lot of space when his partner's off the court. So if you're playing and let's say you're a 3-0, 3-5, 4, 4-5 player, the number one issue you'll see a lot of times is not getting far enough when your partner goes close off the court or off the court that you're not shifting far enough over. Okay, let's keep going. So McGuffin sees this, and he doesn't care if the ball's low. It's not even that low. He says, hey, you guys are out of position. I'm speeding it up because you're completely in a defensive stance. I'm going to test you. So he tests Alshon. Alshon pops it up. Ignatowich, same thing. Tries to get some spin on that, but Garnett does a great job defensive. Oh, looks like we had a little glitch there. Garnett decides to speed up from being off the kitchen line. Ignatowich two-hand backhands it back down to him. We can very easily see the teeter-totter issue that's going on here, even though this camera angle isn't good. Basically, it's like this right now, where Garnett's hitting everything up and Ignatowich is hitting everything down. And then it looks like Ignatowich just pulls the ball. So it looks like Garnett, through his skill, battles and gets a little lucky. But let's just remember where this started. Here it comes. Bounce, speed up. So from what we've been watching, we've got McGuffin and Ignatowich, and they are now going to be, they've attempted one and they've won 0 on a bounce speed up. Yeah. Ignatowich, as you can see here, lets this ball get way into his body. I'm talking about his hands right here. So I'm going to go real slow, frame by frame, so you can see this. So the first ball he gets, he's out in front of it, and he's swinging. It's still a little bit into his body. And then he never really gets his hands go down before they come back up, and then it's all bad news because it's literally in his hip where he's trying to do a two-hand backswing from his hip, and that's all going to be pull all day. So, yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Garnett serving. Short return by McGuffin. I'm just going to replay that. We're going to watch the whole point through, don't you worry. I just want you to see this. And Alshon makes the right decision here to drop this ball and not speed up a low short ball and get no benefit of it. So kind of pleased to see that in his game. Couple interesting decisions there. Ooh. That did not finish off the way Garnett wanted it. Let's take a look here. So we're going to go all the way back where we get everybody up. Third shot drop. Semi-high ball coming from Ignatowich. Rather pick that thing up. Goes cross-court with it. And then, yeah, basically Ignatowich gets anything to his forehand, and even if it's low, he's coming. So that ball was most likely out, but Garnett just doesn't get out of the way. And he hits it back with a backhand. Chooses to speed up backhand to the forehand. And speed up again from back in the kitchen line. Point essentially resets there. But Ignatowich doesn't want to let it. And he basically is trying to chicken wing Garnett and essentially achieves it, which is shocking with these little soft high dinks to him. And I wonder if he's noticing sometimes at the pro level, these guys literally just see it. Like, watch Garnett's paddle as it goes down. When you are playing somebody, and now they're at, they've played, it's 8-6. They've probably played quite a few points so far. You start to get a feel for what they do in hand battles. And if you notice Garnett takes the paddle down, paddles low, go high. Because he's going to be late, and he's basically late to the party twice in a row. So he gets complete miss hit on this, basically hits it off almost the frame, so that ball comes back slow. And once again, Ignatowich goes, I'm just going to put it back up again, trying to push you back. The big thing that occurred is Garnett is way back from the kitchen line. And so when you're doing that, you got to swing and hit the ball even further up to get it to come back over, because he's basically swinging down to this ball as if he's still at the kitchen line. He's basically backed up twice. Okay, he was right here at the kitchen line, sets his feet, hits the ball, but jumps back. You see that jump back, that split step that goes backwards with his paddle going down. Paddle goes down. Like he finishes the swing here, brings it back up, and then literally goes down with the paddle. And so that was the big issue. There was a lot of issues in that point. Garnett hides a lot of mistakes with his physical ability because he gets shots that most people wouldn't, and or the point would end earlier. So he keeps it going on past where the initial mistake was. Oh, that was a little bit of haven't played enough together, it looks like. Going from being in the offensive position to the defensive position. McGuffin's going to want that one back. Let's go back and rewatch this crazy point. Oh, it looked like McGuffin being 10-6. He was really trying to put it away. Okay, here we go. Ignatowich is serving. Okay, one good thing right here. I do like that Garnett sees Ignatowich way overrunning this ball and decides to speed it up at him. Obviously, that's not the form or anything that you want to have as Ignatowich, and he completely pops it up. If Garnett could have hit this ball a little bit more down the middle with a little more power, I think they could have won the point. But basically, they've got McGuffin and Ignatowich on the ropes, on their heels, completely in the defensive. And that is just bad playing on Garnett's part to run into his partner. Now, I agree. Okay, so this is why you don't want to be completely even at the net. So for those of you who haven't heard it before, we're going to go over the blocker workhorse rule, okay? And it's all dependent upon where you hit the ball. So we're going to move a little bit forward. Garnett's the one who chose to hit it here. No one else didn't hit this ball here. So what occurs when the ball is here? That makes Alshon, that makes him the blocker, okay? So to be the blocker, Alshon should be completely right up here at the line. And the only thing he is defending is this. He's just defending speed ups. He's ready for anything that's going to come here, but that's all he cares about. For Garnett is now the workhorse. Garnett should be 1.5 feet, 2 feet back off the line. He actually shouldn't even really be straight. He should have his body turned a little bit. Normally you want to kind of have it at like a 45-degree angle to the ball. So his right foot should be back behind his left foot. And then he's got to guard all this, all that back here, all this over here, everything behind Alshon. That's what he's guarding. And so when I'm going to leave all that coloring on there. Let's just move forward a couple frames. When this ball comes over here, whose mistake is running into who? This is 100% Alshon's ball. He's doing his exact job of, hey, I'm here, I'm blocking, I'm supposed to smash this ball. And Garnett, never in a million years should he be trying to take that ball. And that is because of where Garnett hit the ball. So this is, he hit the ball there, that determined the blocker. If the ball, let's erase all this fun stuff. If the ball had gone the other way, so if the ball was here, so we're going to move the ball over here. Now we're looking at the ball's over at Ignatowich. Guess what? There's a big hole over here. Luckily, Ignatowich couldn't get it there. But this point, Garnett is the blocker. He should be right here. He should be guarding everything that's coming off of from Ignatowich, which he does. And Alshon should be 1.5 feet, 2 feet off the line, 45-degree angle. So Alshon's a little bit too far forward at this exact point. but he should be giving space because of where the ball is at. And that reason is because Alshon, at this exact moment, he's guarding the lob, he's guarding everything back here, he's got to guard everything back here, and that's why he should be off a little bit. And if they were properly playing that, they wouldn't run into each other. Okay, so once they run into each other, Alshon can barely hit the ball, and Ignatowich does a great lob, literally hits the line. Don't even actually know if that's truly in, but they called it in, no one called it out, and away we go. So now Alshon and Garnett are on the defensive. They're trying to drop to get back up. Nice couple drops. Not the best footwork by either one of them. They're just fighting it, and it's just get one more ball over, right? And Garnett literally gives it a lob even, and McGuffin misses. And so that's the one thing. Sometimes when you're in this position of being back, you're both back, and you're just fighting to survive. It's all about, it doesn't matter how, just always over. Don't put the ball in the net. Always over. Always over. These are not good drops. That's not a good drop. That's not a good drop. That's not a good drop. Once again, we're just doing always over. You'll win a lot of points just surviving and making them hit one more shot. So, interesting point. I think we learned a lot from that one. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, once again, Ignatowich serving. We're watching it all the way through at full speed, and McGuffin likes to test you, so let's take a look here. So good third shot drop by McGuffin to get them up to the kitchen line. Easy backhand dink going into the middle. This is the one thing I do just want to point out. 3-5 level players will often hit this shot, and they'll go hard this way and make it a much harder shot, thinking that that's getting a benefit. The actual better shot, and the more skilled level players can hit a dink drop here into the middle, making it more difficult. The difference is if your skill set of doing dinks is not that good, you're going to hit that ball too high, right? So you have to have very good feel and touch and of practice to put the ball there and not have it come speeding back up at you. And so I just wanted to show off that is a pro level decision. He's choosing to hit it there instead of going across to Garnett's backhand on purpose. And that's something we've talked about in other videos and shown why those are a benefit, because as you can see here, McGuffin goes into the middle, then he goes into the middle again. He's wanting to get it over to Alshon's backhand or getting the team not to know whose ball it is. They basically have had 3 balls come over. Besides this first one, it was questionable. Okay, are you taking it? And they're both leaning down. See how Garnett and Alshon are both leaning down. That's not what you want. You want one person knowing that, hey, this is my ball, I'm taking it, and the other one not giving up their good court position. So take it out wide. And they've taken both of these low out of the air. That's a very defensive dink by Alshon. So then basically Ignatowich can do whatever he wants with it. Another super defensive dink by Garnett. He gets low. That ball gets too high. And I'm not even sure who hit it. I believe Ignatowich is the one who actually struck that ball, even though they both swung at it. Yeah, I'm 99% sure that Ignatowich with his long arms got that before Tyson McGuffin, but they both had already decided, oh baby, we're gonna light this up. And because he took this ball in there, watch Garnett's body position being ready for this ball to come back. He's low. If he let this ball bounce, okay, let's just look at his body position, then we're going to talk about whose ball that should have been. Look how low his paddle is. His paddle is still, the ball has been impacted. His paddle is still below the net, still below the net, still below the net, still below the net, and then he tries to do it, but no. And so that's the thing, is when you take these low balls and don't let them bounce and give yourself time, you're not ready for the comeback. Garnett's been keeping his paddle a little bit low the entire match, which I think has been a little bit of an issue in all these hand battles. He needs to get better about his ready position and have the paddle a little bit higher. The one thing that I always like to point out for people is if the paddle is below the net's going to protect your body. So what good is it to have your paddle here? Your paddle's not doing anything for you right here. Your paddle needs to be up above the net because the ball's got to go over the net to get to you, or they've just hit it in. So now let's back up and take a look at it. I really want to point this out. Whose ball is this? So this is kind of a bit of a better camera angle. Obviously, that was Garnett's ball. He does a great job. Forehand dink right back to McGuffin's forehand. That's fine. And then for some reason, I'm not exactly sure. I think it's because Garnett stepped off the line that Alshon decides to step in and take that as a backhand, which I'm not saying is great, but he's like, hey, my teammate's off the line. I'm going to give him a little time to get back up to the line, and he goes across. Now, this is the big error one, so let's look at this. So when the ball comes this direction, which it does, I'm going to leave that arrow there just so you can see how that's traveling along that plane. It's going from the outside corner back to the middle, so it's obviously traveling along that plane. The question comes up a lot. Whose ball is it? Well, physics, and we've talked about this, that this is a debated topic, but if you watch enough film, I really don't think it's that much debate anymore. And here at Champs Pickleball, we're pretty adamant about this is Alshon's ball. You should let the ball go across, even if it's to his backhand. You should let it go across. The ball is going to bounce. It's going to check up. It's going to give your team more time. It's going to keep Garnett in a better position, and the ball is actually going to come to Alshon's body. So if the ball traveled here, bounces and goes like this, it goes right to Alshon. Easy shot, right? He doesn't have to, he's not off balance. He's not moving left to right. He's not leaning either direction. The ball is just coming directly to him, and then just take it nice and easy. And so that's the one big area where people who are playing the left side, they need to realize, in my opinion, that ball should be Alshon's based on the path of the ball and how you can get a better dink. See how he's having to squat low and reach for it? That's a defensive dink, where Alshon could have at least a neutral dink, if not a offensive dink from the ball coming right to him and him being ready for it and having more time. Okay, so that was the winning point for that first game, but we're going right into the next game here. And obviously don't worry about the score. As I've said previously, we are doing a highlight video of this match instead of doing every point. So we're actually seeing multiple games here throughout it. So we're going to probably see some of the points that they're a little bit longer, a little bit better, and that. So let's back this one up, take a look at it, and see where it broke down. Nice long point. Okay, Christian Alshon to serve. And a third shot drive, fifth shot short drop. And then we're getting into this dink battle. I will say Garnett's backhand dinks, I'm just going to back this up so you can kind of see it. He kind of does a lift with a lot of going just always backspin. So it kind of lets it get into his body. So you see the ball right there. It's bouncing past his right knee. And he's literally, look how far back it's into his left leg. It's a very defensive backhand dink. And so when they're doing this, basically Tyson McGuffin's like, I'm going to target your backhand. You let it get into your body too much. Okay, well, I'm just going to send it back there again. You let it get back into your backhand too much again. And so little reset volley changeup. I like that by Ignatowich. That's a lot more patience than he's done in some other matches. Probably with him playing right side, he doesn't feel the pressure of having to put the ball away. And then he gets it. So I think Garnett, I think the issue here is Garnett is kind of all over this court. He's trying. He's working hard. See, I do actually like this is what we talked about just in the last point, so I'm just going to point it out again. This ball comes from here, is going that way, so it's traveling along this triangle, right? And so Alshon takes that ball, and it's a much easier dink for him, right? He's just, okay, I've got that. Yeah, you're going at my, the ball's obviously going at his foot. It's a good low dink, but he just sends it on back. This is, I just want to show you, if you are getting to the 4-5 and above, 5-0 type level, this is what you should be looking at. You should be looking at your opponent's paddle. Look at this paddle. Look at this paddle. They're both down. You can, even if you want to simplify it, if I was Ignatowich right here, the only thing I would be looking at when this ball is coming back is where is his feet and where is his paddle on Garnett. And then that tells me, hey, this ball's not that high, right? I'm not going to hit it that hard. I'm impacting this ball below the net. Do I want to take the risk? That's impact, okay? So we know that this is yellow ball. What your opponent does not ever change what is a yellow, green, or red ball. So it's right here, right a little low yellow. So normally you say, hey, I don't want to speed up that ball. The difference here is Ignatowich says, hey, my opponent's got his paddle down. So I don't even have to do that much. I don't have to hit this hard. It's going to be hard for him to make a decision. And so because his paddle's down, he's not ready, thinks to let the ball go out, and that ball is in. And so that is the biggest thing as you progress. You want to be watching where your opponent's paddle is and making decisions based off of that. That's going to have you win a lot more points. So I believe that the big mistake here actually isn't that this dink is a bad dink or too much of a pop-up, or that they did anything that McGuffin or Ignatowich really did anything at this point to force a pop-up dink. It is truly them looking at the ready position of Garnett and exploiting it. And so that is unfortunate. So I hope you guys take that and learn from that, get that paddle up in your ready position when you're at the kitchen line. Well, I think McGuffin just gave a Christmas present there to Garnett. This is a fun point. Some people say that when you do that short ball, it's not even so much about winning that point. It's about forcing your opponent to have to stay true. Let's back this up. True through all the other points you're going to play against them. It's a little tough to think that at the speed of Ignatowich and McGuffin, two great singles players, to me, you're just wasting your time inviting them up on that. Like they're gonna have the hustle every time all day long to turn on the afterburners and go get that ball. So I disagree with this shot immensely, that you think that you can outbeat Ignatowich. I mean, just look at this beautiful tennis slide. Look at his feet just slide into the kitchen, and he comes all the way back out. That is just, in my opinion, that's a cardinal mistake. Yeah, if you're playing against older guys, out at a park, yeah, that shot's going to win, 99% of the time. But we're in a semifinal match against pros who are training every day and are in great shape and have years and years of a tennis background. That's just a waste. You just invited them up. You had them all the way back. Keep them back. And this ball was high enough to hit hard again. So you took an attackable ball and did that. So I think that's the first mistake. Let's keep going. This is a much better. See how that ball is out by his knee and he gets that pace on it for Garnett. That is how his dink should be all the time. Not letting it get all the way back to his body. Okay, let's keep moving forward here. Ooh, put him on the defense. I think it's going to end here real quick. Okay. So many mistakes. Okay, here we go. Okay, so good dink. This is the exact reason why the pros hit the ball in between their two. It's a whose ball is it? And McGuffin is the one that makes the wrong decision here. It's Ignatowich's ball. Just get out of his way. Once again, it's coming across. Ignatowich is going to get that. I know it's his backhand, but you didn't do anything better. So now they're both on the defensive, and they're both off the line. So Garnett's going to push on that. He sees that, so he immediately goes, okay, I'm going to try and keep you back. And once again, his paddle has to go down for that one. So now he's on the wrong end of the teeter-totter right here. As you can see, Ignatowich literally jumping up, hitting down at him. And Garnett just keeps putting his paddle down. And so it's just down. He's swinging up. So right here, at this point, he tries to keep him back, does not hit a very good shot, and then complete breakdown. So at this point, this is when he needs to get soft. He doesn't get soft, and you go, okay, hey, well, maybe that was a hard ball. It came quick. His feet clearly were moving. Okay, so he was just trying to get it back over. At this point, it's get soft time. Kind of get soft, but then this is where the cardinal sin really comes. That's a speed up. He's off the kitchen line. Him and his teammate are obviously in the defensive. He swings hard. Swings hard once, hard twice. Then he tries to slow it up, and then he's still off the kitchen line. He didn't actually get back up and get set, and then he swings hard again. So, yeah, they're kind of consoling each other, but that's where the real breakdown is he's swinging, he's in a defensive position and still trying to be offense when it's very clear when you see it from the side view that he's on the defensive. And if you're McGuffin and Ignatowich, there's a reason they're not hitting the ball away from him, because they easily see, well, if this guy's going to keep speeding up from back there, statistically, every additional ball we hit at him, the odds go up more and more in our favor of us winning. And so that's really where that point breaks down and the mental error which occurs to have him lose it. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Nice job by Alshon there. Obviously, the point of us finding this footage was to see Alshon's double game, because there's not as much footage online of that at this point of the recording of this. He is a great player and definitely working hard in his game and having a lot of success in singles. I'm a little surprised by Garnett's game and what's occurring on that, and that's also one of the tough things is when you have guys like McGuffin gets partners like Ignatowich. Well, then they have a significant advantage. You know, in doubles you got to also find a really good partner. So let's back this point up. Just backing it up. It was a longer point. Give me a second here. Let's see where this breaks down. So very short ball, which gives McGuffin kind of the green light. Fifth shot drop. And the point basically, now we're at neutral. But McGuffin and Ignatowich are basically, they're getting balls that are just too easy for them to put spin on it and speed it up. And this is what I'm talking about. So here's the fifth shot drop. Goes to Ignatowich. That ball, I'm not a big Ernie fan, but that ball he probably should have Ernied. But this, look how high that ball is going over that middle line. Like, that's coming back. Like, that's going to come back hard. So this ball, and that's what I was talking about now, as we can watch here, he hits. This is not a hard dink. Garnett does not get his. He needs to get another full step back. He let the ball bounce. This is completely fine. But he's not. He went. See how he kind of goes left, and then he goes, okay, now I got to go back. When the ball is in Garnett's back knee, he is popping it up a lot. That's something he needs to work on, about being a lot better about keeping the ball in front of him. And when you do a two-handed backhand, that is tougher. It's tougher. You have to move your feet even more than a one-handed backhand. So there's pros and cons to everything. But he really needs to work on keeping this down, because boom, defensive, and he decides to speed this up at Ignatowich. I'm not even sure if that ball was going to stay in, but Ignatowich obviously easily ready for it. Then the ball is down again, and he basically, I'm not going to say that he really blocks that, because you see the fall through. I don't know if you guys can see that. Look right here where his paddle comes through. It comes through really quick. And so it doesn't even feel like this is really that much of just a block. It's almost a speed up going back, which is, once again, now he's hitting the ball basically off the, the deck, off the concrete of the court surface, and McGuffin's just getting to hit forehand drives over at Alshon. Alshon does a great job of getting this ball, basically a little flick to try and just get it back. Ignatowich sends it down the middle. Great drop by Alshon, and quick getting back up. He's got a lot of skill, and he stays super low. Look at that tennis move right there. He just has that ability that a lot of people don't have, is hitting this shot with precision. Like, that ball's obviously going in. And so great job of going from defense to offense there. McGuffin sends it back over to Garnett, and Garnett gets back into this hands battle with Ignatowich. And in my opinion, Ignatowich is just owning him every time, because, and this is the best example I think we've gotten of it on a camera angle, look how into his body he's taking these balls. That's when you know you're losing the hands battle, is when your opponent is hitting it in front of their body and you're taking it into your body over and over again. So then kind of a reset by Ignatowich. Says, hey, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to look for another opportunity. No stress. Good dink by Alshon, pushing him out, going to the corner. And another high dink by Garnett. Switches to the one hand, keeps it better in front of him, but once again, very into that backspin, which is fine. McGuffin, when McGuffin does this, great. When he pushes, he sees this push. Look at his feet. McGuffin comes straight up to that line and gets set. He goes, I've pushed you back. I'm now going to try and sink in here and be a wall. That's really how he likes to play it. So they're just battling. Going to go a couple quicker frames through here. Okay, let's see that. We've learned a lot on this point. This has been one of the better points. So, as you can see, back towards his back knee, kind of in the middle of his body. Very defensive dink. Has to float the ball. Doesn't get it soft enough. And McGuffin gets it right to his forehand. He's off to the races. So the one thing that I would say, if you are the one shot you really want to learn, if you want to jump like a full level, if you're a 3-5 and you want to go to a 4-5 very, very quickly, this shot, when you get pushed back here, and I'll draw it more in a square, but if you're taking a ball in this area with your backhand and you're dinking, and so like Garnett does here, he steps back. If you want this shot, if you're going to hit a defensive dink with backspin, the spot to put the ball is here, and I would accept anywhere basically from your opponent's foot over. So this box is where you want to put the ball, because it's on their backhand side. Anything they speed up will be less. So you have to learn how to hit it even softer, because it can still come at you quick off the backhand. But when you're doing it and hitting it so far into a forehand, that's when things get bad. But Alshon does a great job doing a block, but obviously doesn't get it soft enough. We now have a bounce speed up. So McGuffin's team is 0 for 1. They attempted one in just the footage we've watched. And he speeds it up. And Garnett does this backhand. So I don't like to talk a lot about technique, but just when you can see this, you see the whole wrist breakdown here on the two-handed backhand for Garnett. That is kind of the cardinal sin when it comes to two-handed backhands. You need to keep that left wrist firm and go up through the ball. That's one of the reasons why there's not a lot of power on it. I will say that Ignatowich hit the net. That ball obviously skips, and I think that's the real reason why Alshon didn't get it. You can see that frustration of just like, my God, you know, long point, and I lose it off of a tip ball off the tape. But I think that the balls are coming too slow at Ignatowich. You can see how he's impacting the ball out in front of his body, easily picking up the line of the ball. So Garnett's swinging hard, but the ball's not coming that hard because he's breaking that wrist right there as he's swinging through and just not getting the spin generation or the power that he wants because he has a weak wrist coming through the ball. If you want to learn more about that, there's lots of tutorials of how to properly hit a two-handed backhand, whether it's tennis or pickleball, and how the wrist should be. Okay, let's move on to the next one. That was a nice long point. Several different learning opportunities on that one. I'm not surprised to see that. I don't know who Alshon's normal male double partner is, but I haven't seen him play much with Garnett. Could be completely wrong if maybe they're still playing doubles as of today, but I haven't seen him recently. And after this match and how things go, I can kind of understand why he would have some frustration with this. Okay, so the cardinal sin right here, bounce speed up, and it's a bounce speed up backhand, so it's going to be even weaker. And once again, Garnett breaks that wrist, so it doesn't have the actual power he thinks it does. Ignatowich is the one who gets it, and then it's off to the races of, because this is the biggest thing that I want people to see. So we are 2 for 1 on the Alshon team of bounce speed ups. I should almost make a separate chart for bounce speed up backhands. It'd probably be very low. Let's get in here. So I'm going to put a little dot right there. I'm going to move back a couple frames so you can see this. Okay, that is the apex of the ball. So he hits it truly at the apex of the ball. Like he gets it as high as he possibly can, right? Let's get that dot out of there. Here's the difference. So at the apex point of the ball, let's be generous and say that's at his knee. Obviously, the camera angle is a little bit. That is not as high as his waist. It's because the knee is closer and this is a 2D plane. But we're going to assume from that is at his knee. He's very clearly hits that ball, and it goes nothing but up. It is now waist height or above. I mean, it's at Ignatowich waist, and Ignatowich is nice and tall. So then it's them hitting down on him. He's obviously impacting that ball now kind of at his knee or below. It's now hip height or above. Ignatowich is jumping up to get his paddle on that, and it's just straight down. And so the true error on this point is 100%. It's the bounce speed up backhand. Anytime you're like, I'm going to do a bounce speed up backhand, just put your paddle back in your bag and go home, because you'll save yourself a lot of frustration. Just do not do that. This just shows that it's 6-3. They've lost the first game, and Garnett is just trying things. He's not having patience and hitting and making good decisions here. You're just making the game way too easy for your opponent, as you can see right there. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And with that, there's nothing Alshon can do to even help his teammate. Okay, they're going to be switching here. And, okay, this is a great point because I hear so many people talk about this. So if you're ever doing, practicing and you're doing dinking of cross-court dinking. So let's say you were doing a little, I'm just going to draw this out. Let's say you are here and you're dinking with, your drilling partner who's here, and you're just dinking back and forth, going back and forth, back and forth. And when you're doing that, let's say you play points out, and a lot of people will hit a ball on the outside, making you shift your feet. I'm going to leave that line there. See how he shifted his feet, which leaves open all this space. Okay? All that's wide open. What a lot of people say is that, hey, my partner should move over. And I agree that in these situations, you should move over. The one thing is you're going to leave a big area right here. So Alshon's trying to protect that on this. And once again, this is a very quick situation. The ball, he impacts the ball. Now Alshon is here. I'm going to mark those with two little lines. So here's Alshon. Let's see how far. We'll do yellow and red. Let's see where they end up when the ball gets back and gets impacted, right? The ball is now being impacted. So Alshon did a great job of getting low. We'll use blue now for post. And he came all the way over here. His other foot didn't really, so he just got wide. He gets low and he gets wide, but he doesn't get close to the middle line. So I do agree that he should get closer to the middle line, and obviously because his teammate moved all the way over here. So I agree with the fact that the partner, Alshon's, one foot should at least be over the line. And since he has this nice wide stance, this is where he should be. It's going to leave a little bit more open here, but once again, you got to remember that's his forehand. So if I'll do it with blue, if this is our stick figure of Alshon and he's right-handed, that's going to leave everything from here forehand. And if he can get down quick enough, the difference is this is just a classic good play of push your opponent to the left, take it back down the middle, and it's wide open, because as the game goes on and people get tired, guess what? They don't take that little extra step and things get open. And so also, in my opinion, man, that is just a bad volley dink by Garnett. I mean, even if Alshon moved over there, you're just getting pummeled. That ball is so high. Talk about one of the few extreme green balls we've seen in this highlight of this match, of McGuffin just getting to tee off on a ball. So obviously, in my opinion, this choice to speed that ball up, he's trying to keep him back. He's trying to make Ignatowich make a decision. He's trying to keep him back. Ignatowich is just running up unencumbered. So I don't have, the shot is just too soft and too high. If it had more spin or more power, I'd probably be more fine with it. And Ignatowich is one of the best of doing these little flick volleys on the run. And so I'm not too opposed to this. What I am opposed is that. This is all bad footwork. And if you're going to speed this up, I know he was trying to keep it away from McGuffin, but if you're going to do a bounce trying to keep your opponent back, you got to be going more towards the middle, more towards his backhand, making him make that decision. He just laid it out there. Easy hip height volley, put it wherever he wants. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Yeah, Garnett's coming now. He's just going to try and brute force his team back into this game. Short return. So he gets a little bit lucky on that the third shot drop carries long, and he's just off to the races. So let's just look at, this is going to be a good example for us because we haven't had many there. Ignatowich is in the air. This is one of his mistakes he loves to make. It just comes from his tennis days where he just got drilled into him. So he's done tens of thousands of hours of split stepping when impact. The difference is the ball is some 40 feet closer than it is from tennis. And so that's the issue where he gets late. So then this gets always flicked up, and then he can tee off again on it and hit down. And so what Garnett does really well here is when he attacks cross court is that he keeps the ball low and he's hitting down on it, because normally you wouldn't want to attack cross court, but the fact that he's able to attack down so hard is where it really works out for him. But the actual mistake, I'm just going to highlight it right here. Watch the feet right here on Ignatowich. The ball is crossing the plane of the net approximately in here. He needs to already be down. He needs to stop taking advancing space, get down, and get ready. He's still not down. Impacted ball, he's still not down. His feet now touch the ground. The ball is already coming back at him. That's all he's able to do is to react, and then his knees are not bent enough. And so it's just, hey, I'm just giving you the ball back, and then you're getting yourself and your teammate crushed. So good job by Garnett, but really a mistake by Ignatowich. Here we go. Little ATP. Get the guys out of the position. Here we go. Let's watch it all the way from the beginning. Okay, Alshon to serve. Good deep ball back. Third shot drive. Fifth shot drop. Yeah, and it's just on the ATP return is where it breaks down. So here's one thing. What we talked about before is when you get to this 4 or 5 and above level, this is the area you want to be attacking with your dinks a lot of the time, especially when your opponent's on the forehand. Lower level players can dink kind of corner to corner, right? And they do that all day long because at that lower level, people aren't doing ATPs. And so what Alshon does here is he hits a ball where, hey, that's a decent dink. But as you can see from the trajectory, this ball is impacting here and not here. I'll do this one in yellow. If the ball was low and impacting here, that's pushing your opponent back and you're getting the ball behind their body. And once again, then the trajectory of the ball is traveling this way, making, as you see, every further inch, it's not going past the net for the ATP. When you hit these very tight shots where the ball is right now, that's what gives the open, even though it bounced a good 3 feet from the tape or from the out of bounds line, he's still able to wait for it to come down to hit that ATP, which is a difficult shot for his partner to cover. Now, here's the one other thing. When you've done this and you've hit a shot and he goes, hey, that guy's going to ATP. At this moment, watch how much ground Garnett covers. I'm just going to mark his feet in blue, and we're just going to go forward. He goes all the way to here. Now, let's back it on up and watch where Alshon's feet go. Here we go. He basically doesn't move. So there is a truck-sized lane right down here the middle, which McGuffin perfectly positions his body for, and he says, oh, thank you, I'm going to just annihilate you. And so as you can see, what did Alshon have to do? He goes, oh, this is where the ball is going to go, is into this area, and then he moves into it late. So when Alshon sees his double partner move off to get this ATP, so basically when his partner did this, he did this jump, go in this direction, Alshon should have moved to in this area. He should be straddling the line. Also, when your partner moves off, I probably would be approximately 3 feet off the line in case exactly what happened is what if a pop-up comes? You're able to take it. So that is the actual position where Alshon should have gotten to. And one of the reasons why we were kind of watching this tape is to see how he's progressing in his doubles game. Okay, on to the next point. Obviously, everyone's getting at 10-3. It's okay. We're not going to make a mistake. We'll just grind you guys out. Let's have patience. Not a big fan of the runaround forehand and dinking. You're all the way off the court. The only way McGuffin gets away with it is because he has such good control low dinks. And that was just teed off. Okay, great job. This is obviously the final point of the match. Let's back this on up and see where this one breaks down, because it gets a little bit interesting. I'm not going to back it up all the way. Garnett's doing a lot of really heavy lifting, getting a lot of air over it. And McGuffin's just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to wait till you lift one too much. And it seems like when... Yeah, well, Alshon steps in and takes a ball that he shouldn't. And he actually sped this up. He didn't just take it. He sped that ball up and then moves back to get out of the way. There's a lot wrong there. Okay, so here's one thing. If you're going to lean in, I think actually McGuffin has a saying, and multiple other people do, like, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. But it's more specifically that if you can't take the speed, don't speed it up. And when you speed something up and then you step back and get out of the way, that means you're instinctively, your brain subconsciously saying, man, this ball's going to come back quick and I'm not ready. So you shouldn't speed it up if you can't just get low and be ready to get in an actual hands battle. And so this is just a bad decision. You're taking a ball below the net. At impact of this ball, Alshon has really long arms, but this, we're going to say he just caught it enough that it's technically a yellow ball. The ball's right here. It's technically a yellow ball, but it's a very low yellow ball. And then it's once again on his backhand side. And so we still don't even know if that was going to stay in based on the trajectory, but McGuffin's not going to wait for that. He's going to bring it. He's hitting down. He just, look at that. He's impacting the ball at his shoulder. He's getting to hit down so hard. And then it's basically anything that these guys can do to try and keep the ball in. But the big mistake here is definitely on Alshon reaching into a ball that's not his ball, which we talked about before. Is what is your job right here? What is your job? Your job is to be a blocker. That's not much of a block. See how he steps over right here. Alshon's job is to defend the line. So this is his job. And as you can see, Garnett is a little bit off the line because he's the workhorse. So that's correct positioning. And so when the ball, as we talked about numerous times just in this video, when the ball is traveling at this trajectory, whose ball is it? It's your teammate's ball. Unless you're going to get a green ball pop-up, which means above your shoulder contact, you should let your partner decide. Is he taking it out of the air? Is he going to let it bounce? Is he going to get time? Now, should you be ready to attack at all times? 100%. But reaching into a ball that is a low yellow ball and speeding it up with your backhand is just a recipe for disaster, and you're going to lose the majority of those points, which these guys do. So, anyways, fun match. I'm glad we got to finally look at some Christian Alshon doubles footage. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This is Champs Pickleball. This is the 452 course, which is advanced doubles film analysis. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell because we release these full game analysis every Friday currently, and maybe in the near future we'll be releasing them even more often. We are on YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, and lots of other places on the internet. Hope you guys learned something from this video, and we'll catch you next time.